This video will show you how to navigate Seesaw as a student. We are already logged into Student 20's Seesaw account, and when it opened up to the journal. The journal is simply the digital portfolio for the student. Every student in Seesaw has a journal. Let's take a look at Student 20's journal. If we scroll through the activities, we see that there are a bunch of activities in here. This journal includes all the activities the student has completed and that have been approved by the teacher, as well as those that are waiting for approval and any drafts. If we look back at the top, this is the most recent activity in the journal, and we see that this activity has a banner across the top that says draft. Seesaw gives students the option of clicking draft instead of turning in an activity in case they haven't finished it. If a student gets started on an activity and they run out of time or have some more questions they need to get answers before completing, they can choose draft and come back and work on it later. To do that, they would simply click where it says edit in that bar. And when it opens up, it will open up the activity and the student can continue working on the activity. For this activity, if we look over on the right, we see that there are actually 3 pages to this activity. And we can tell that student 20 did the recording on the first page, but hasn't on page 2 and 3. If the student continues working and still doesn't finish, then up at the top, we see the word draft. You can click that and it will save it again so the student can come back later to work on it. If the student had finished, they would have clicked the green check mark to turn it in. If we continue scrolling through the journal, when we look at the next activity, we see that it has a different color banner at the top and it says waiting for teacher approval. All activities must be approved by the teacher. So that means this student has completed this activity and turned it in, but the teacher hasn't approved it. Once it's approved, that banner will disappear. It will still stay in the journal, but you may see additional comments added to the activities. If we scroll to the next activity, we can see that student 20 completed this activity and the teacher has already approved it. The teacher for this class is Miss Heaton. So let's look under this activity and see what else we can learn about it. Under the activity, we see a folder and the word reading next to it. Seesaw offers a folder option for teachers to use if they want to. This teacher has created folders and has one called reading, and this activity would live in that reading folder. It still stays in the student's journal, but it's just organized for the teacher in a reading folder. Underneath that, we see a heart that says a heart and then student 20. That means that when student 20 finished this activity, they clicked the like button for that activity and said they liked it. Underneath that, we see the little comment picture, and we see that Lori Heaton, the teacher of this class, recorded an audio comment and that student 20 typed in a comment. Next to student 20's comment, we see that it says pending approval. Just like activities have to be approved by the teacher, so do comments. If we want to listen to Ms. Heaton's audio comment, or if we want to add a comment as the student, we can click comment. This will open up the comments linked to this activity. There's where student 20 liked it. Here's the audio recording from the teacher that we can click play and listen to.
Great job sorting the pictures into the right columns.
And then underneath that, we see the comment that student 20 already made about this was fun, that's waiting for the teacher approval. So now the student could add another comment. They could type it in on the keyboard, or if you notice, there's also the red microphone button. They can click that and do an audio recording. To get rid of the keyboard, if it's showing on your iPad, if you look at your keyboard, over in the far right-hand corner, there's a picture of a keyboard and a down arrow. If you click that, the keyboard will disappear, and then we can click the X to close back, and we're back in the journal. If we continue scrolling, we see here's another activity, and the student has already added a comment. I love the spring. I'm in as student 20 right now, so if I really liked this activity, I could click the heart next to like, and now it shows that I've liked it. We could continue scrolling to see all of the other activities that student 20 has completed. Now, let's take a look at the activities that student 20 still needs to work on. Over on the right, we see Journal, Activities, and Inbox. Let's click on Activities. Notice that Activities has a number by it, and it says the number 5. That means that right now at this time, student 20 has 5 activities still waiting to be completed. That number will change depending on how many activities the student has assigned or the teacher has assigned and how many activities the student has completed. If we look through the activities and we find the one that student 20 wants to complete, let's say that student 20 chooses the activity from April 11th for Math 3D Shapes. Notice that all the activities have an Add Response green button on it, but before we click that, we can actually read the instructions that go along with this activity. We not only have numbered instructions, but we also have a button that says Play Instructions. The teachers can record audio instructions for the activity as well. The first step says to tap the Add Response to begin. So as student 20, I'm going to click the Add Response button. The good thing is I don't have to remember those instructions because they are attached to the activity. The activity opened up. If I need to see what my next step is, at the top I see View Instructions. When I click on that, there are my numbered instructions and there are my audio instructions again. The buttons and images that we see on the instructions match what we see in Seesaw. If the instructions tell us to use the microphone, if we look over on the left, there's the microphone. Across the bottom, we have the Select tool, which is the hand with the box. We can move things around. If we click on the Pencil tool and it pops up, we can choose a color that we want to write in or draw in. We can choose the pen and we can also choose a color there. Then we have a highlighter and we have the glow pen. If we make a mistake, there's an eraser and we can erase what we did. Notice over on the right, we have more than just one page with this activity, so we need to complete everything on both pages. You have other tools and your teachers will use those in the instructions if you need to use those as well. We have shapes that we can add in and backgrounds and things like that. If I am student 20 and I don't finish, up in the top right hand corner, I can select draft and save this to work on later. If I'm finished, I click the green check mark to turn it in. When I turn that in, it will show up in my journal and it will have the banner across the top that says waiting for teacher approval. If I want to work on another activity, I go back and click on activities. Notice my number has gone from 5 to 4. I find another activity, click on it to begin. If I don't have any activities and I'm already complete for the day, I can also click on Inbox and look and see if there are any new comments. This is where I can see announcements from my teacher, but I can also click on Notifications, and this will show me if any new comments have been added since I was in last time as student 20. I'm going to go back to Journal. Again, this is where I can see all of my activities that I have completed and turned in, or ones that are waiting for approval, or ones that I have saved as a draft. At the end of the day, students are encouraged to sign out of Seesaw. To sign out of Seesaw, you click on your name in the top left-hand corner. Click on Sign Out, and then it'll ask you, are you sure? And you'll choose Sign Out. This will take you back to the login screen. If you've logged in through Rapid ID, you need to make sure that you go back and sign out of Rapid ID as well. This will give Seesaw a fresh start each day. Keep up the good work in Seesaw.